episode of County to County, and today we are here in county number 039. That is none other than Bungoma County. We are here in Malakisi, South Kulisiru Ward in Sirisia constituency, going to have a conversation, that is one-on-one conversation with one of the aspiring MCA, Mr. Tera Bukamu Waliaula. He will tell us more about the journey to 2022. So join us, we move together. We know where Tera is going to take Malakisi in the next 5 years. Thank you so much. Mheshimiwa, you are welcome. Thank you so much for making time for us.
Thank you.
Okay. You tell us about yourself, Mheshimiwa.
Yes. My name is Mustafa. My name is Mr. Tera Waliaula.
Okay.
From a resident, this is South Kulisiru acquired.
And what made you come up with this idea of vying for MCA, Mheshimiwa?
So many things. One is that I have the will to transform my village. As I've said, I have the will. I was born here and I know the problems that my people are encountering. One of them, as I've said earlier, is to the youth is the sports. Mustafa, since I was born, I have seen very many regions develop sport-wise, especially people from the Rift Valley. But here, I've seen so many boys, the likes of John Wangila Weche. We had Muse Munyalo who played the Costage game. So many things, so many people have had their talents die simply because of poor sports development. Our leaders do not have the will. I personally, I have the will to transform, grow, nurture, and develop football, and let me talk of sports at large.
Okay. Mheshimiwa, I want to cut you short. We've seen some of the areas developed, others are not developed. How do you see your ward? Is your ward developed?
Not really. Since devolution came up, I've seen a lot of discrimination take place, more especially in terms of employment. When you look around in my village, you can look, so many youths have been recruited into enforcement, into counties, various positions. But look at my village. We have got very few people who are employed here. Two, look at our agriculture. During those days when we were still young, we used to grow coffee, we used to grow sugarcane, we used to grow sunflower, we had pepper, ginnery at Malakisi. Right now as we are talking, all the factories are like that.
Another question, Mheshimiwa.
Yes.
Since devolution, it's now 9 years. Is there any change since devolution? Have devolution changed anything in this world?
Yes, I cannot completely say or deny it that nothing has been done here, but very minimal.
Okay.
The rate at which development is taking place is, to be very sincere, non-realizable. For example, animals being the collaterals. But you find that someone has already cleared her loan, and another one in the group has not cleared her loan. Now, the whole group is being held responsible. That is very wrong. When I am empowered to be your leader for Malakisi South Kulisiru Ward, the first thing I do is to ensure that I get this group, we work together, clear their loans, and go for those shares so that we can distribute them back to the citizens of Malakisi South Kulisiru Ward.
Thank you so much.
Two, Mr. Kasim, as you can see, take for example this Tembo village. We don't have any borehole around. As during my young stage, when I was still a young boy, we used to get water from these ordinary wells. Still we are fetching water from those ordinary wells. Initially we used to have the farm collection produce center. Hapo kwa Mzee Westula, for example, we used to have the farm collective center. Right now as we speak, it has been converted into a church. The intention, the motive, the objective is now changed.
Okay.
When you go to Jebutumi, it's now an administrative center, office. When you go to kwa mzee Kaf Bisun, the office, the store is now demolished. Hata hatujui mabati imeenda wapi. Most likely, someone is very soon going to claim or grab that piece of plot. And those are the things I first of all do. Another thing, the third thing I'll do is to ensure that sports and talent development is developed, is done. Now, in Kenya, we don't have jobs. And the first place to go to is to ensure that sports is well developed, is well nourished. Take, for example, the region like Rift Valley, the athletes. You know, many of them are employed in sports. Such things. If those things were done long time ago, na Mungu aweke roho za wazee kama akina Jonathan Barasa, mzee Patrick Masombo, mzee Suleiman wa Rwanda, Masete Koyola, Mungu aweke roho zao mahali pema peponi. Those things, if we used to call them analog, if they did those things during those ancient days, we used to call them analog. Now we are calling ourselves digital. And they have not developed. The things they left to us, those development they left to us, now they are demolished. They are falling down. Then, are we really analog, or it's them who are analog? And if that is the case, at times I ask myself questions. Does it mean thinkers died long time ago? Or thinkers still exist? And if they are there, then the elites of this region are not doing what's required. To talk about developing sports, there are so many fundamental things you are supposed to do. One, you have to generate, to get some neutral playgrounds. As we speak, Mr. Kasim, the only playgrounds we are using are institutional playgrounds. You know, we cannot develop sports when we depend on those institutional playgrounds. The school has got its own timetable. They say, for example, you want to do sports outside the school in a weekday. It cannot take place during daytime, during morning hours, during afternoon hours, not unless it's during evening hours. That's not enough for our sports ladies and sportswomen and sportsmen. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So the first thing I'll do, I'll ensure that every location we get a land, buy a land, set aside for to create the playground, one field in every location. And that one we will do, believe me. Another thing, we should now stop or cease having a one-day football event like it has been during Madaraka Day or every first of the new year. It cannot be like that. We must come up with a program, a well-fluent program, to ensure that we have football run throughout the year. And I have all these. Resources are there. It's only that those leaders who are there are not willing to support sports. I, Tera Waliaula, I will support it fully. Because that's the only way we can get our young ladies and men engaged. That's how we can get them, get employment. It's high time we should stop, cease from doing football for fun and do football for employment.
Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa. Maybe I take you back to what you said, that when you take over as the MCA, you're going to ensure that sporting activities becomes one of the jobs for the youths.
Yes.
This ward is said to be one of the ward with highest number of poverty. You find a person or our farmers who grow foods like maize, beans, but they end up selling it for a little amount of money to ensure that their children go to school. How are you going to eradicate this, Mheshimiwa, when elected as an MCA?
This is what I'm going to do, Mr. Kasim. The first thing, I'll try as much as I can to work closely to the elites of this region. Yeah. We have our brothers and sisters who are successful. Some of them work with the government. Some of them are in diaspora. What I'll do, I'll ensure that when I'm there, we set aside some money specifically to develop agriculture. I'll also consider working with my friends who are in diaspora so that we can get investors to come. We sit together and brainstorm, get our lands, take them to the lab, take the soil to the lab so that we can get the best out of our farms. And once we do that one, we can now come up with some cash crops that can supplement the subsistence farming that is not giving anything, or even if it's giving anything, but it's very small, that cannot support even education to our children. Out of the geological report survey.
Okay.
That's what I will do. And that is the reason why boreholes have been drilled and they are not giving enough water.
And Mheshimiwa, another question I want you to answer me. Maybe if elected as an MCA, health centers in Malakisi, South Kulisiru are very, very, very minimal. We have a dispensary at Chepkutumi. We only have a dispensary at Butonge. We only have a dispensary at Namwesi. Is it Namwesi? Yeah.
We have Lutaso.
We have Lutaso.
Yes.
They are very minimal. We don't have a standard hospital in this world. What are you going to do, and how are you going to do it to ensure that health of these people living in this world is guaranteed?
First, I cannot say that the health facilities distributed are very few. They are not. When you look at the population and the way these health centers are distributed, I think they are just strategically located. But the first thing I'll do is to ensure that the resources are deployed there.
Yes.
I ensure that they are well equipped. Like, for example, let me take my nearest Chepkutumi dispensary. You know, a hospital cannot have just two nurses there. So I'll have to ensure that the hospital has enough human resource, has enough doctors, have enough nurses. The lab is well equipped. It's operating 24/7. You know, you cannot say, you cannot really, Mr. Kazim, you cannot say you are going to operate from Monday to Saturday or to Friday. You know, when the diseases come, it does not ask when the time it comes. We want to have an institution that operates 24/7. So this matter of saying that you operate from 8 to 6 is going to cease.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to do. Apart from that, even education. Many of our people are lacking school fees. Many of our youth are lacking school fees. And you know the reason? It's because the crops, they are dwelling much on subsistence farming. And when they grow maize like that, every person is growing maize. Where will you get the business? You cannot get the business. So it means before you get the money, you have to dispose like 40 bucks because the price has come down like to 20 to 40 shillings per gori. So it means you have to sell like 20 bucks so that you can support or get the money to pay fees for the entire for your children. Are you with me?
Okay.
So what I'll do, I'll want to alliance with those friends, with those residents who left this area. Some of them successful but are in diaspora. Some of them have decided to buy lands out of my region, so that we come together and come up with an annual feast harvesting day. I'll have the annual feast harvesting day. This annual feast harvesting day, I'll have the performer. First of all, I'll have to assemble the elites of this area. It will be driven by them. My work will be just patronage. Similarly, I'll also have my contribution as their area MCA. You know, so we'll have the annual feast harvesting day.
Okay.
We also have to substitute. We should not just keep dwelling on how are we going to give back. I must find a way for these successful people to give back something to the community. And you know, we cannot be giving them food. We cannot be building houses for them. The simple and the best thing we have to do is to educate their children. A child should not be denied any education due to lack of school fees. So I'm going to have the annual fees harvesting day so that we can substitute bursaries from the counties, substitute bursaries from the Member of Parliament, the CDF.
For the past 9 years, she've dug a lot of holes. What do you think is a problem with those holes, water holes?
Very good, Mr. Kasim. First of all, when you talk about success, success does not come, or you cannot succeed alone. Success is a contribution. For me to do this work, first of all, I must ensure that I work with elites. And before you do the borehole, you must follow the required procedure. One of the things the 4 leaders have failed is doing the so-called geological survey. You know, you cannot just start digging or drilling a borehole somewhere simply because there is piece of government land available there. No, you go like that, you fail. First of all, you have to do the so-called survey, geological survey. It is from this geological survey that you will have to ascertain whether the ground has enough water to serve the people or not. Okay? So first of all, I'll have to get people, do geological survey report for an entire location, for an entire ward, and that information will be kept by the chiefs. So when the county government, me being in the county government, want to do a borehole, we will be following those reports in specific locations. Once we ascertain like that, even if the geological report there is ascertains that there is a certain piece of land for a certain person is good for doing the borehole, we can even go ahead and buy that piece of land rather than
maybe Mheshimiwa, because of time, as you're shooting part, ungependa kuambia aje wapiga kura ambao wanakutazama, ukitazama ile kamera uweze kuambia, ungependa kuambia nini wale wapiga kura, wakazi wa Malakisi South Kulisiru, wakazi wa Bungoma, wakazi wa Sirisia constituency, ungependa kuambia nini?
Asante sana Mr. Kasim. Nataka kusalamia watu wote wa Malakisi South Kulisiru ward. Nataka kuambia nawapenda na sana nataka kuomba mnipigie kura. Kwa maana kwanza nikianza na vijana, unajua mzungu alisema when you vote a youth leader you are voting future. Na wamama na wababa wazazi wetu nataka kuambia ya kwamba na waomba mpatie hii nafasi kama MCA wenu. Kwa maana mimi kama mtoto wenu nikifaulu, si ndio mnasema vijana ama watoto ni nguvu yenu. Kwa hivyo kijana asiyesaidia wazazi wake, hiyo ni kama amelaaniwa. Mimi nataka kuambia ya kwamba for the betterment of this region, na wasihi kwa unyenyekevu naomba kura yenu. Na nitawasaidia, tutasaidiana. Mimi nimezaliwa hapa na najua shida zote katika hii ward yetu. Asante.
Back to you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for staying tuned. I was your host, Kasim Mustafa. Remember to subscribe to our channel, that is Mustafa Kasim, there on YouTube.